The AirTech Challenge 2 is re-releasing in 2024, but not exactly the way we all remember it. How do I feel about it? We're going to get into that this time on Fire Footwear. Welcome to Fire Footwear, everybody. As always, I'm Matt Freitz, your host, and I want to thank you for tuning back into this show. If it's not your first time, and if it is your first time, I want to welcome you. This week, we're going to talk about the AirTech Challenge 2. It's a shoe that, in my opinion, many people in sneaker culture should know about. And it's re-releasing again in late 2024. It last released in 2019, and it was almost an exact copy of the original. Why is this a big deal? Well, the original really changed tennis shoes forever, in my opinion. And the reason being is because it took something as stuffy as tennis and made it cool. How did it make it cool? Bright colors and an association with what at the time was considered a cool tennis player. Andre Agassi in the late 90s was the very definition of cool. Tennis, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of other people's opinions, was really considered a stuffy and almost country club-esque sport. A sport that didn't necessarily mean that everybody could get into it. But when a guy like Agassi came along with his long hair and his brash attitude, coupled with this new shoe line, I think a lot of people gravitated toward this shoe. And the AirTech Challenge 2 over the years has not only had an initial iconic colorway, but it's had so many iconic colorways along the way. And Nike decided that they're going to give it the reimagined treatment. And one of the ways, I think a big way that it differs from the last release in 2019 is the aged outsole. If you also look at the shape, it's a little bit different. I think the toe kind of curves up a little bit. A lot of people, at least on the internet and social media, are very up in arms about this because I think most people want to see an exact copy of the original. Because I think a lot of people, myself included, have an emotional tie to that shoe for one reason or another. And when we're not going to get exactly what we want, I think sneaker culture gets a little bit up in arms. How do I feel about it, though? Well, when I look at this shoe and when I look at the story that I think that Nike is trying to tell, I think that they are trying to tell a very similar story to the Jordan 1 Lost and Found, in that this shoe is old. And by definition, it is old. 1989 was a long time ago, almost 40 years ago. And so when I see the execution of this, when I see what I think Nike is going for, I believe it's actually a good execution of it. And I think that it's almost trying to get at, if you had this shoe for a long time, this might be what it would look like. And I know that today a lot of people complain about not getting exactly the OG colorways of iconic shoes that they want. But let's face it, Nike is not out to just give us everything that we want. I think we need to take the good with the bad. And in my opinion, this shoe, the lava colorway, is fire regardless of how it is executed. Personally, I liked the aged look, and I think that it would make a great piece in my collection. I can't wait to try and cop them, and I can't wait to wear them. And if you're not familiar with this shoe, I think that you need to go into the history books and do some research. Tennis shoes really skyrocketed after this, and this was the reason why they did. Tennis shoes for a certain demographic of people is what they call all sneakers. But tennis shoes to us mean shoes that you actually play tennis in. And they weren't always this cool. So I know that I'm looking forward to this release. I hope that you are too. And those are my thoughts on it. What do you think? Let me know. Get in touch. Instagram at Fire Footwear Pod is the way to do that. You can find this podcast on any podcast platform. And if you're watching this for the first time, please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Hope this finds everybody well. Hope this finds everybody safe. And I'll talk to you next time. This is Fire Footwear.